Secretary of War Pete Hegseth invited all the, not invited, mandated that all the generals and above in rank all meet together in one place. So these people all over the world got brought in, and everybody was freaking out. Oh, the world's gonna end. It's gonna be a massive war. There's no reason for them to talk other than a massive war. Donald Trump was out there talking a little bit about nuclear stuff. We're all freaking out here. And then he told them all that they're too fat. That's funny right there. That's funny. Good man. Yeah. Get the men who think they're ladies and the people who can't fight in a war, perhaps, out of the war fighting. Let's do that. Hello, the internet, and welcome back to another exciting episode of What I Think I Know with your host, Dan Brigantino. Don't go anywhere just yet. If you're just stopping by because you saw a weird magician-looking guy on the little label picture thing, don't go away yet. Drop a comment down below before you leave. This channel has so few viewers that I can dedicate an entire episode to you. If you drop down in the comments just the first thing that comes to your mind, the first hobby or interest or subject, whatever it may be, drop in the comments. You get the whole next episode dedicated to yourself. Today's episode, though, is going to be not so much dedicated to anybody. It will just be the typical. We're going to keep up with kind of current events and all that stuff. We're going to hear a little bit from Bernie Sanders and Joy Reid a little later on. Sorry in advance. I apologize for forcing you to listen to that. But it's fairly important what they're saying. But without further ado, let's dive in. First, a little anecdote. My lady just got back from a vacation to Greece. She had a lovely time. And if you think your vacation has ever been screwed up, you're going to want to listen to this one. So my lady and her grandfather, grandma, sister, and mom all decided one day that they were going to go to Greece together. A couple of weeks went by, some snafus, whatever. Now grandpa's not going. Okay, another week goes by, some more snafus. And the trip's kind of all screwy. We don't know what's going on, who's leaving when, where, where are we going? I don't know. Nobody knows. So they kind of redid the whole trip entirely. And then eventually we kind of landed on, because my lady is, she's got a bunch of stuff around the country. She's doing interviews all over the country. She's having a crazy time right now. So she was able to go to Greece early before everybody else got there. And kind of spend her vacation at that time, and then the last couple days of her vacation would overlap with the first couple days of her family's vacation. So they'd get to hang out a little bit. Unfortunately, on the flight over, her grandma caught a cold, and the doctor there suggested that she just come straight home. So my lady's grandma got on the plane with my lady, and they came back home together. She was in Greece for, I think, about 48 hours. And then the next day, we got word that her mom was not feeling so well and was going to head home as well. I think they made it 4 days in Greece before having to come home. So if you feel bad about your vacation getting screwed up, just think about theirs. It'll make you a little bit happier. And yeah, boy, I owe her a nice trip to another place. Anyway, that's the anecdote for the day. A little bit of fun there, not so much. Something I think is very important to talk about, SB 771. It's a Senate bill, that's what SB stands for, Senate bill, in California, and it is well, I can't remember the actual terms they used, but it is essentially like a cyber silencing bill, I'd call it. It is against hate speech online. So channels like this. If I said the wrong word, I could be in trouble. Now, the bill unfortunately doesn't specify what words are bad, what phrases are bad, what subjects are bad. It just says hate speech. So that can pretty much be construed as anything. Anything I hate. If I hate you talking about a certain subject, that could be construed as hate speech by the wording of this bill. There's also a little bit there that says essentially it's supposed to only be against groups or companies or people who are making over, I think it said $100 million a year, but it does not specify that as a necessity to charge somebody with this crime or whatever it is, ticket somebody with this misdemeanor or whatever the crime, whatever it is. So essentially anybody could be charged with it, and the punishment is $500,000 to $1 million. That's tough right there. That's good old California being ridiculous again. They don't like Republicans, so they will shut us up. As we know with, Prop 50, the redistricting bill. Oh, boo-hoo, a federal judge. No, I don't think it was a federal judge. I want to be straight with that. But whatever. A judge told Texas that they have to redistrict. They have to redraw their maps. Well, that's just unacceptable. A court told them they have to do it. That means we're going to redo it as well, just to spite them and to fight against them. So they take a 40% red state who has 17% of the voice in that state and drops that voice down to, on the generous side, 7.7%. So that is 92% of California's voice is Democrat, even though 40% vote Republican. And we'll see with this, again, Senate Bill 50, sorry, Prop 50, if that 40% who voted for Trump goes up. I have to assume it would. There have been some counties who have gone through their voter roll and nixed a bunch of improper voting things. Of course, Gavin Newsom will constantly say, no, we've got no problem with our voting. No fraud at all. Well, there was I think, I can't remember if it was a Labradoodle or what it was, but there was a dog who voted in at least 2 elections in California. Lady was posting about it on her social media thing. If that's not fraud, I don't know what is. There's also, we already know, tons and tons of dead people voting, illegal aliens voting. If Newsom said, and he did say this, but he said something along the lines of, be careful out there, ICE is going to be at the voting booth. That should be the stupidest place for ICE to hang out, because there should not be any illegals at the voting booth, because they shouldn't be voting because they don't live here. If I went to Italy today, not a citizen of the country or anything, not dual citizen, nothing. I have Italian genes and I love the country. That's the only relation I got to them. I cannot just go over there and vote in their election. That is, I don't think I could use that word, but it's arted, all right? Just absolutely bonkers. To think that somebody from anywhere can just come into our state and vote. I mean, I can't even go to Nevada and vote in Nevada. They're right next door, or Oregon up north. It's just bonkers to think like that. So they're doing their best to silence everybody. Hate speech is probably going to be like, Gavin Newsom is the worst governor California's ever seen. Oh, hate speech, $500,000 fine. There you are. But yeah, so gerrymandering, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. There's a term I keep hearing all the time: Christian nationalist. I'm a Christian because I follow Christ. I don't. I was baptized Catholic, but I don't really think kind of any of those are. I guess, well, Catholic is like a solid religion and all that, but following Christ itself is not really a religion. It's following somebody. I don't know how else to explain that. But anyway, nationalism is believing that your country is awesome, perhaps the greatest of all countries. Name one country. Comment down below. One country that is better than America. Just one. That's all I want to hear. You don't need to give me a reason why. I will take that name of the country and find all of its best attributes. I'm a very honest man. If I find something crazy, amazing, unbelievable, I will show you. Whether I disagree with your opinion or not, I think I've said this before, but I believe that the level of intelligence somebody has can be discerned by how they change their opinions on things. If given factual information that is, provable enough, kind of thing, if you change your opinion once you see that sort of thing, you're an intelligent person. If you just stay boneheaded, well, I don't care what the facts say. I don't care what science says or whatever, and not COVID science, not those scientists, not climate change scientists. Believe me, if 40 years ago they said that the ice caps were going to melt in 10 years and they only grew larger, I wouldn't believe that. I don't know why anybody does. There's enough factual information out there to discredit all of it. But anyway, Christian nationalist is apparently a new group of hateful people. So when we go out on the street corner and say, hey, Jesus loves you all and he just wants you to believe in him and he will heal you, that's hate speech. Fun. So just another thing to try to silence us. It's a good time. It's a good time. So now that we're already frustrated by that, let's move into kind of the topic of the day. Today is Wednesday. I don't know, is it the 1st or the 31st? I don't know. It's one of the two, 1st or the 31st. And today is it must be the 1st, of course, because the end of last month was the last day for the budget bill to pass. The Republicans proposed a continuing resolution about the budget bill. Continuing resolution, a CR, is basically just saying, hey, whatever we had for last year, let's just do that again this year. And it buys time for the two groups to kind of argue a little bit more and figure out what they really need. I think it was going to be the end of November, or maybe like November 21st was the deadline for that. And the Democrats said, well, you aren't giving illegal aliens health care, so no, let's shut it down. Now let's dive into a little bit of Bernie Sanders talking about just that.
Shutdown is all about is whether Republicans are going to be able to get away with raising health insurance premiums by 75%. Yes, 75% on average for 20 million Americans. And in addition to that, throwing 15 million people off the health care they have by making devastating cuts to Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act.
All right there, did you hear that? It's very innocuous. You'll miss it if you don't pay attention. He says, Americans this, Americans that, Americans this, and people will lose their health care. Why wouldn't he say Americans there? Well, because clearly he's talking about illegal aliens. We voted a president in on the basis of deportations. Why would the American people then say, while we're deporting them, we should also pay for their health care? Moving on.
And you know what that means? That means, not according to Bernie Sanders, but according to people who have studied the issue, academics, tens of thousands of Americans are going to die unnecessarily. Well, you know what? I am not going to support that. And that is why the Republicans have got to sit down, they've got to negotiate, and they've got to protect the health care needs of the American people.
Well, remarkably poor time.
I love that line. They say this every time there's a government shutdown or looming government shutdown. They always say this before a government shutdown, that tens of thousands of people are going to die because the government shut down. Yes, there will be some people whose Social Security is delayed. Food stamps may be delayed. Not necessarily. It's not a guarantee. There is still money in the budget from last year that they will be using during this time. So it's not necessarily 100% true. I mean, sure, tens of thousands of people could die if there's a building that collapses or something. But healthcare really wouldn't help them in that area very much. If you are, if you've lost your Social Security because of a government shutdown, there are food banks. There are people out there looking to help. If you reach out, you will find somebody or something that would love to help you. Food stamps. If you lose your food stamps, go get a job. McDonald's is always hiring, and they pay like $20 an hour, which is really good. I make tips at my job, but otherwise I'm $16 an hour. I work some events for this company I work for, and they are non-tipping events. I'm not allowed to have like a tip jar out at my bar, and still $16 an hour. That's what I signed up for. That's what I do. I love the tips. That's really why I'm working there. But I work for this company. They scheduled me for an event that I will be making $16 an hour, $16.50, whatever, an hour. And so that's what I do. If I wanted to make more money or different money or whatever, if I don't want to work those events, I could find somewhere else to work. There's plenty of other places to work. And there are way too many able-bodied people, although when you're that size, it's not quite as able-bodied. But you could sit in a chair and answer a phone or something. Be a secretary or something like that. You could get a job. So no, tens of thousands of people are not going to die because the government got shut down. And no, the Republicans did not shut down the government. The Republicans do have the House and the Senate, the power in both areas. Almost more symbolically, though. We would need a much larger grip on these organizations, or whatever you want to call them, to actually have the power. Right now, I believe we need 7 Democrats to come to our side in order to pass this budget bill. And so, I mean, right there, if 7 of you come over, then tens of thousands of people won't die. So it's on 7 Democrats. The blood of these tens of thousands of people Bernie says is going to die, or are going to die. That's on the hands of 7 Democrats who decided not to vote for the budget bill. Their budget bill was some like $1.3 trillion. Ours was like 40 billion or something like that. 48 billion, I think. A pretty drastic difference. And I think we should be thanking Republicans for not accepting that. Because, I mean, $1 trillion alone is... It's a lot of money. Pretty ridiculous. Joy Reid, it seems, actually has her thumb on the pulse of what Republicans really want. This is very interesting. I want to show you guys this little clip of Joy Reid talking. Again, I really do apologize. This is painful just to watch. but let's dive in here.
Stood in the way of black students trying to, integrate the University of Mississippi and all those universities. A lot of them are still alive.
Yeah.
So it's not as if the past is even past. It's not even deceased. So we're talking about a history that just happened, but only black people are being told we have to get over it. We have to move past it. The facts and the truth in your newsroom, you should do it. If you're not comfortable doing it, you should find a group of people who are standing to fight the whole system, but try to form collective group with you. Because a lot of times, this is one of the reasons black people in the crunch when things happen.
Yeah, you're such a bevy of knowledge. Can you give us a breakdown? Yeah.
And this is from a group called the Heritage Foundation that in the 1980s started getting together every year and creating a plan of how they would govern if their kind of conservatism could take control of the country.
Right.
They've been tweaking this thing since the 80s, since Ronald Reagan was president, since a lot of folks that are watching this before they were even born. But every 4 years, they talk about how they would implement it if a president of their choice came in.
Yeah.
They've never been able to fully implement it because normal people were in the government. People who would look at some of these things and go, firing the entire federal workforce, that doesn't sound like a good idea. Deleting the Department of Education, that really doesn't sound like a good idea.
Right.
Reducing, the numbers of people who work in the Pentagon who deal with things like suicide, that doesn't seem like a good idea. Getting rid of research into ailments that mainly target women and people of color. No, we need research and cannot be restrained by the courts. That's in Project 2025. That's about eliminating the First Amendment, meaning that using Israel is terrorism. They also come out of the workforce and largely go back into the home. They don't like the out of the military, out of basically illegal, shutting down those who want women back home. They don't mean us.
Right.
Because they do want us in the home, cooking for the white family.
Yes.
They want back the kind of world in the 1950s where the only time you saw a black woman, she had a maid's uniform on and she was taking care of your children. And the only time they saw a black man is that he was their butler and their driver.
Right.
They really miss the hierarchical past that we tried to leave behind. But that's not that old. We're talking about the 1950s. They desperately want that world back, if not the 40s, 30s, or the 1890s.
I did not mean to play that clip. But that's pretty funny, actually. If it's true, if only black people are being told to get over the past, it's because you're the only ones holding on to it. Let it go. Let it float away into the wind and go back to being just a normal freaking person. Okay? Stop complaining. You're not getting reparations. No one owes you jack. All right? This is a kind of a classic argument. If black people are owed reparations, where do they come from? Do they come from families whose ancestors fought for the Union? The people who gave their lives to free you? Is that who should pay reparations? Or should they actually get reparations? That's an interesting question. Otherwise, like, California tends to be the closest state to actually giving out reparations. We never had slaves here. I'm Italian. My family came here like 120 years ago. When would they have had slaves? Although I'm considered white, so I would be in the paying reparations group. How are you going to pay? Is it with tax money? Because then the blacks are going to be paying reparations to themselves. None of it makes sense. Anyway, sorry about that. Back to Joy. Again, apologies for forcing you to listen to her.
And we have to be civil and we have to have grace. No one else has asked that except us.
Yeah, and that's true. What do you think that, black people, what do you think we should do to counteract that?
I think one thing is that we have to counter those narratives aggressively. If somebody says black on black crime, we need to correct them.
Immediately.
Especially if we're in media. Yeah, no, that's just called crime.
Yeah.
If a person commits a crime, it's just crime. Because when a white person hurts another white person, well, then that's white on white crime. And maybe we need to start pointing it out. There's a pathology that's happening in this country that is not happening among black folks. We can deal with our own pathologies internally, but white America is in some sort of a crisis.
Yeah.
There's an active increase increase in mass shootings, almost entirely by white men between the ages of 18 and 49. You have high rates of suicide among white men between 18 and 49, including military veterans. Look at who raided the Capitol on January 6th, almost entirely white men. This is a crisis in their community, but you don't see Black commentators saying, we need you all to sit down and start to look at your culture. You need to think about what's happening in your culture. But when you have a crime that a Black person commits, we get lectured as to whether we need to look at hip hop. We need to think about whether our children are being raised poorly by single mothers.
Again, did not mean to play that clip. But that's wild. I have some stats here regarding what she said. Let me find this. Oh boy. Here we are. Between 2017 and 2021, Black on white violent incidents totaled 2.38 million. White on Black totaled 370,000. I don't know if you know this, but about 60% of the country is white, and like 14% of the country is Black. 14% of the country is committing 2.38, basically 2.4 million violent crimes against the 60% of the country. 14% of the country committing 2.4 million violent crimes in the last, 4 years against 60% of the population. When about 2 million less are done vice versa. Sorry, Joy. What did she say? You need to, what was that? You need to look at your community and figure out what's going wrong with it, or whatever she said. Oh boy, I love watching Joy read. She's a good laugh.
So the goal of trying to force the country backwards to that late 19th century or early 20th century, they're very serious about. And one of the reasons they're so serious about it is that if you go back before the 20th century, there were no income taxes, there were no regulations on business. You could earn as much money as you want, leave 100% of it to your children with no taxes.
Right.
That's the world they want back. And to get it back, they need society to change. They need people to be less modern. They need people to want fewer things. They need people to be satisfied just being workers. And they don't really believe that any of us have natural rights.
Yeah.
They believe only the super rich, only the billionaires have real true rights, and everyone else are just workers.
Wow. Do you consider yourself
Just workers. Wow.
So she's right about the first half. Yes, Republicans do want no tax, no income tax. What else should you say? I don't even, but no taxes on inheritance. Yeah, that is what Americans want. No, we don't have to change society in order to get that. And why? Explain to me how poor Republicans exist if everything we fight for is for the rich. Explain that to me. I'm far from a rich man. I am very far from a rich man. Definitely, I'm a paycheck to paycheck kind of guy. Hopefully one day maybe I'll be rich. My version of rich, which won't be millions of dollars. But yeah, why would a poor person fight for billionaires and whatnot to get richer? If we don't have income tax or inheritance tax, don't I, the poor guy, get to keep more of my own money? What the hell are you talking about, Joy? I'm sorry, but this would help you too. You're rich. You're a damn sight richer than me. You're a damn sight richer than pretty much everybody I know. This is just unbelievable. Disgusting. I dislike her so much. Like Donald Trump said at Charlie Kirk's memorial, I'm not supposed to hate my enemies. I know that, but I do. And maybe the Lord can come to me in my dreams tonight and help me through that. But boy, oh boy, it's just lie after lie after lie. Probably the biggest part that bothers me about what the Democrats do is they take everything that they do and say the Republicans are doing it. So the whole, they want to take the money from the poor and give it to the rich. That's what the Democrats are doing right now. The Republicans are certainly not doing that, but the Democrats are 100% doing that right now. California is the best example of that. I talk about it all the time. Smog is a great example. If you cared about the poorest of the poor, you would get rid of smog checks entirely, okay? Or at least maybe if you make less than, what's the poverty line? $35,000 a year or something like that. You should not be required smog ever. It's unbelievable. It costs an enormous amount of money to get your car that runs and drives perfectly fine and does not pollute terribly. It costs an enormous amount of money to get that thing back on the road when you don't pass your smog. Minimum really is like $2,000. And for somebody financially struggling who's driving an old beat up car, who can't afford a brand new beautiful car, that's basically a death sentence to their travel. So yeah, if liberals really wanted to help Americans, they would shut up about climate change. They'd shut up about whatever they're going on. What else have I mentioned earlier when I kind of said that? But anyway, yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. And they claim during this budget bill, they claim to be all worried about healthcare. Well, did you see what Donald Trump was doing? When he mentioned Tylenol, which I don't think I talked about, but that's unbelievable. Tylenol themselves tweeted in 2017 that pregnant women should not take any medication made by that company while they're pregnant. They themselves said it. Harvard said it. I can't even remember who else, but 4 or 5 different other well-known colleges and whatnot have said that Tylenol can cause autism and things. But people just take whatever Trump says and do the opposite. Here's a theory. The theory of the day. If Donald Trump in 27 were to come out and say, you know what? Republicans, do not vote for J.D. Vance. He's become way too liberal. He is not the MAGA movement anymore. He is the liberal side of life. Or more like, don't vote for J.D. Vance. He has switched sides. He's a terrible guy. Everybody knows he's terrible. I said the other day, he's terrible. And they were like, yeah, he's terrible. You're right. He's a terrible guy. He switched to the Democrat side. He's on their team now. Don't vote for him. He's terrible. If he were to just come out and say that, then it would be 100% of the country voted for J.D. Vance. It's just, they're just fools. What the heck was I talking about there? I got lost on the Tylenol thing. Oh, yeah. So anyway, back to the point of that, bringing up Donald Trump, was this whole budget bill thing was about the health and safety of Americans because they're going to lose their health care and their SNAP benefits. Just a few days prior, Donald Trump got across I don't know if it was a bill or if it was an executive, whatever it's called, But he is confirming that America is now going to have the lowest prices for pharmaceutical drugs. If that doesn't help with your medical bills or medical whatever life, then I don't know what will. Certainly, government-funded healthcare isn't really doing much good. It's just as expensive. I'm on government healthcare. It's just as expensive as anything else, really. And the benefits are trash, garbage. Fortunately, I don't go to the doctor ever. I haven't been in years. But I still would get charged, I can't remember, minimum of $800 a year if I don't have health insurance. So whatever, I get health insurance. But anyway, yeah, Donald Trump has done a lot more than the liberals have in just the last week than they ever have in the healthcare department. Of course, like we all know, Bernie Sanders, he was paid off by Big Pharma to give the like the preliminary round when we have a bunch of candidates for one party and then we vote for who is going to be the one who runs for president. I don't know why I can't remember what that's called, but back in 2015, 2014 or something like that, it was Hillary Clinton versus Bernie Sanders. Everybody was certain Bernie Sanders was going to win, and in the middle of the night, just like when Joe Biden beat Trump, in the middle of the night there was all of a sudden just like 1 million votes for Hillary Clinton out of the blue. And we found out later that Bernie Sanders got $100 million from Big Pharma or whatever. So that's a lot of fun. Good job, Trump. Keep her rolling. Keep working. Let's get this Senate bill passed, and let's get H.R. 4117 in there. That is, I can't remember the name of it ever for some reason, but that is one of the 3 bills proposed at the moment that will stop smog checks in California and save the poorest of us all. Meanwhile, all this going on, in Dearborn, Michigan, we're back to Michigan. We've talked a lot about kind of Muslim stuff in the past. We've talked a little bit about Dearborn, Michigan. It might have been last episode. I'll refresh your memory. The mayor of Dearborn, Michigan, Mohammed Murabi Mumar Mamafi, told a pastor named Jed that he is no longer welcome in Dearborn, Michigan, simply because Jed didn't appreciate the fact that street names in his town were being renamed after terrorists. The leader of, or several leaders of Hezbollah, I believe. Not that what terrorist organization is really important. The fact is they have done plenty of terroristic acts all over the world, including killing lots of Americans. The pastor ended up coming back to that mayor and essentially forgiving him and being very pastorly. I was kind of offended by that, honestly. This is a massive offense. This Muslim mayor should be deported immediately. I don't care if he was born here. I don't care anything about his immigration status. He should be gone out of this country. People like this guy, Ilhan Omar, she has outwardly said she is Somalia first, not America first. She committed immigration fraud when she came into this country. She married her brother. And, I mean, to boot, these guys all believe that a dude who once got ridden by 5 naked black men in the desert, he married a 6-year-old and consummated the marriage when she was 9. And then he also said that false prophets will die by a severed artery in the neck. And then when he was dying, he said he feels like his artery in his neck has been severed, proving that he is a false prophet. Himself proving that. So that's the dude they believe in. And yeah, Michigan is unfortunately going to hell in a handbasket. They've gone so far as to play the Muslim morning prayer thing at like 5:30 in the morning on loudspeakers across the whole city. It's pretty disgusting. People have complained. They get shut down, called racist and whatnot. This is America. We were created as a Christian country. It might not say Christian in the Constitution, but it does say that God gave us our rights. Our God and this Allah fella are clearly different people. One of them believes that if you are not a Muslim, you should be killed. We went over this in the Three Abrahamic Religions episode. I mean, it's a horrible, horrible, horrible religion. Really a cult, a murderous cult, and it's somehow become the somehow, I say somehow, it's just unintelligent people buying into stuff. It's not that hard to understand. When you are surrounded by nothing but sand and desert, yeah, you're going to end up wanting to believe in something, and if that's the only thing to believe in around, and also people are saying you'll die by, beheading, if you don't believe, you're going to believe. And then it's easy to, from there, once you get a group of adults believing in one thing, then you just tell the children, you believe in this or they're going to kill you. And maybe I'll kill you. Maybe there's I can't remember who it was, but there was a mother who came out. This is an American lady, this is a lady in America who's saying like, oh, I have 7 sons and I've already given 3 or 4 of them up as martyrs. Gosh, I wish I could remember who that was because it's a very important lady. She's like the head of stuff, and she came here, I believe, from Iran, and in Iran, several of her children strapped suicide vests on them and blew themselves up. And I believe actually she stated that she strapped the vests to the children. So that's fun. And then we have, this is the, well, I guess I'll show you a clip just so you can kind of see. This is a clip of the prayer in the morning. How would you like to be woken up by that every morning? Yeah, I'm not all right. I mean, throw some Leonard Skinner on there, man. I tell you what, we'll be having a good day. Everybody will wake up happy that day. Yeah, man, wake up to scorpions, rock you like a hurricane, baby. Whoa, man, I'm ripping and raring to go for the day. That's a darn good day, but that's not how I want to wake up. Anyway, I also have just another clip of the mayor of Dearborn talking about baloney. I don't know. I don't really care what he's talking about. It's just disgusting to see him talk. And to hear the crowd in the background. Pay attention to the children also. There's little toddlers, just like I was talking about a second ago. They train the children to do it. The gays. This is a direct correlation to the LGB whatever, lettuce, bacon, tomato, transgender group. The transgender group has, I guess this is the difference right here. The transgender group can't reproduce. So they have to indoctrinate other people's children. That's why the entire school system is focused solely on lettuce, bacon, tomatoes. Because they can't create more of their own people. The Muslims, on the other hand, are creating their own people, and they're doing it very, I set that up wrong, trickily. That ain't the right word. But they're very creative with it. So they believe in polygamy. So one man will come over, he'll bring 6 wives, impregnate them all, they'll all have several children. The wives will go to the government assistance office. I don't even know where you would go to get government help. But they go to the office and say, I don't have a husband, but I got all these kids and they need paying for. So they get a bunch of money. They bring it home to the father, who of course is around. And then they buy a house in the neighborhood. Then, they do it again with the next lady and the next lady and the next lady. And soon enough, they've got a whole block in a town that is all this one man's wives and children. So you'll see kids, 15 kids playing in the street. They all come from different houses and different mothers, but all the same dad. This is not, like, I'm not just kind of coming up with this. This is factual. I'll try to find a video clip on it of somebody actually important saying this. But anyway, moving on. That's some just bonkers, wild stuff that's going on in our country right now. I don't think I showed the video. Here it is, the video of the mayor.
In the past, why are our protests on the International Day of Quds, why are they so anti-America? Why don't we just focus more on Israel and not talk so much about America? For all of the atrocities that we just heard about. And this is why Imam Khomeini, who declared the International Day of Quds, this is why he would say to pour all of your chants and all of your shouts upon the head of America. Malcolm X said, and I quote, "We live in one of the rottenest countries that has ever existed on this earth. It's not Genocide Joe that has to go. It's the entire system that has to go. Any system that would allow such atrocities and such devilry to happen and would support it, such a system does not deserve to exist on God's earth." And so when these fools ask us if Israel has the right to exist, the chant "Death to Israel" has become the most logical chant shouted across the world today.
All right, and boy, I have so much more to talk about. I could go on and on for hours, but I would prefer to communicate with you guys. I want to get some dialogue going with you, the people at home. One last thing I will say. I did some research. I was using AI just to answer some questions. AI is a great tool. It's not artificial intelligence. It is simply a quicker Google search and more accurate. It's not artificial intelligence, though. I hate that term. These things are not intelligent at all. They are programmed to sift through information. That's all it is. But a really interesting few questions I asked. I got curious, because I know stonings are still happening in the world. Obviously, Muslim world, not anywhere else. But I asked, how many people are stoned to death in Muslim countries each year. And this said fewer than a dozen, but most of them are done in secret, so there's really no way to tell. Then I asked, how many Christians are killed in Muslim countries every year? No idea. Nobody keeps a record of that. Not a clue. Doesn't even have a guess. I asked the same for Jews. How many Jews are killed in Muslim countries per year? Not a clue. Doesn't have any idea. Not even a guess. And then I asked how many Muslims are killed in Muslim countries per year. 222,000 between 1979 and April 2024, making up about 89% of all deaths from Islamist terrorists worldwide. Annually, 20,000 Muslims are killed in Somalia, Nigeria, and other parts of Africa. The point is we've talked a lot about this whole number messing stuff where all Republican crime is being rated as political crime and no Democrat crime is being rated as political crime. We had, what was it, like all fires, all events that affect the environment were, 3.7 megatons of carbon or whatever that was. If you recall that from our little climate talk. All these numbers are just so skewed. And the fact that they have no idea how many Christians or Jews were killed, but they know exactly how many Muslims were killed, that shows you the agenda right there. Because I can guarantee you there were more Christians and Jews killed. I guess I can't guarantee that. That is definitely my belief. But I mean, just in the last couple months, we had like 20,000 Christians murdered in the Middle East and Africa. So just some fun with numbers there. But anyway, I guess that's kind of it before I go down even deeper into all this crap. We'll put it off until next week. Like, comment, and subscribe, please. It would help me out greatly, get this show on the road. And most importantly, comment down below. When has anybody ever had the chance to have a podcast curated for them specifically? Well, this is your opportunity right now. Comment down below, give me a subject, tell me what you want to hear about, and we'll dig in. I do not care what the subject is. I have an interest in so many different subjects. Your subject is more than likely on my list of subjects. So please, comment down below. Give me a like, a subscribe if you're kind. Well, not if you're kind. I'm sure you're all quite kind. But if you are interested, I guess, in watching me talk more. Fun fact about likes and shares and whatnot, I'm actually staring at this in the background. My only video to get any dislikes was my tribute video to Charlie Kirk. I do want people to know that. I don't get very many likes. I've got like, I don't know, maybe 10 likes total. But that's the only video that has been disliked at all, which is incredibly sad. And maybe it was my fault. Maybe I said something that I shouldn't have, but I don't think that's the case. I think it was just somebody saw a tribute to Charlie Kirk and hit the down thumb, whatever. I don't care. I'm not really like interested in how many likes I'm getting or whatever. But I do want people to understand that the liberal side is totally off their rocker. I can't remember who it was. Was it Sun Tzu or something? Or who was that other guy? Miyamoto Musashi, I think his name was. I think it's attributed to him, but it might not have necessarily been something he actually did say. But it was better to be a warrior in the garden than a gardener in the war. I don't know if you know much about Republicans, but we like our guns. We are typically the ones in the military fighting. I myself do a lot of training. I know a lot of people who do a lot of training. Democrats, by murdering us at every chance you get, and also, like at the ICE facility, trying to murder us, but actually murdering your own team on accident. That right there, actually, that's a great example of the difference between Republicans and Democrats. They try to murder people. We talked about this last week. that their sole focus on guns are for killing is because that's all they use them for. But even when they do use them to kill, they don't know how to use them, and they miss and hurt other people. They are gardeners in the war who are waking up the people who have just been peacefully gardening all this time, the warriors who have been peacefully gardening. If this world does come to a civil war, which it's not going to happen. We're not going to take up arms at any point soon. That would probably have to take some an actual invasion from another country, and we could probably construe the southern border as an invasion from a military-ish organization. The cartels and all that, they've killed, I want to say they kill like 250,000 people a year. That seems a lot, actually. It's probably less than that. But anyway, yeah, you're gonna pull the warriors out of the garden if you gardeners don't shut up. All right. Well, I gotta stop rambling. Again, like I said, I could go on for hours and hours and hours and hours. Please don't be a Muslim. If you are a Muslim already, read your book, the Quran. Read it. Just read it. If you read it, you will get to the end of it and go, that ain't for me. And then pick up one of these. Read this one. Sorry, you can't see. There we go. Read this one. This is a much better book. And actually, the Quran says that this book is true. So you can trust this if you're Muslim. You can trust the Holy Bible because the Quran says it's true. Fondly enough, the Bible says that the Quran is false. So if the Quran says the Bible's true, that must be true, kind of thing, because they both agree. But then the Bible says that one's false, which would make that one false because that one says this is the true one. Anyway, again, I could go on for hours and hours. I'm going to let you go. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye. Also, God bless.